Welcome back from the south. At this moment, we go live to Venezuela to see an ordinary session of the National Assembly that is currently underway. President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodríguez, is making some statements regarding the exchange of assets with other countries, specifically the European Union. Those are the centers, the points, but from there come the assets to other countries such as Germany, UK, Ukraine as well. The main topic for which that clown is continuing a situation is for the importance of these businesses to Ukraine that is having a negative impact on humanity. At any point, these things are going to come out sooner rather than later. The acts of corruption from Zelensky that have turned Ukraine into a spot for arms trafficking in the world, because many of the arms that the U.S. has and other countries have sent to Ukraine will be sold in the illegal arms trafficking market. And people in Los Angeles will wonder, where is this going? It's the hypocrisy. Europe, according to the recent reports, this is not our own data, this is not Venezuelan data. 25%, a fourth of all the funds, illicit funds from the planet, are in Europe. These are the ones who rebuilt Europe. As before, it was done by slave work, like before it was done by extracting the natural resources of Africa and America. Now it's being done by these murderers and clowns in the European Parliament. Because the Belgium, one of the leaders who used to cut the slaves' hands and did other dangerous things, this could again, of course, be issued by the Parliament once again.
When they were the ones that cut them off. So there were abominations. The European history is just full of abominations against humanity, against human beings. Racism was born in Europe. Nazism was stemmed from Europe. Fascism was born in Europe. Slavery as a business was born in Europe. So the most serious genocides were perpetrated by Europeans. The apartheid, where is the grassroots of apartheid of what happened in South Africa, in Europe. So the African wars were just sponsored by the Europeans. So the worst of hypocrisies of what has been happening in the Gaza Strip. Europe represents 10% of the global population, but the money laundering represents almost 30% of the total So the territory that represents 30% of the global population manages illicit money. Including drug trafficking, drugs, as Venezuela doesn't want to be involved in that issue of money laundering, as Europeans used to hide themselves, used to drug themselves, but then so the money comes to the European bank, to the European trade, to the thousands of empty apartments that are in Spain while people are on the streets. So NASDAQ said so. 178 billion dollars from drug trafficking, because smugglers get a lot of profits and they just deliver to the major drug dealers who are Europeans. That money isn't kept in the beds, but the money goes to buildings, and so they use Panama. Oh my God! Those Europeans are very there. So it is enough to go to Panama and to see the whole set of buildings, of empty buildings, and where's the money come from to keep those offices empty? It is an honor that the main money launderers of the world that are Europeans include Venezuela in that list. When I said I would never enter to, so as someone said that I would never join the club that have people as me. So I could say the same. We've never been in the same list as those sponsors of genocide, of those smugglers. So just in the year 2023, I said 2023 because Israel paid money to Europe, but so with this 948 million euros that was that Europe sold to Israel, it was sold to Israel. But so I think that Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez was brave regarding the issue of Israel, but Spain must stop to sell weapons to Israel. Germany. So Germany is one of the main suppliers of weapons to Israel. The foreign minister said so. So it is a confession from the officials. So 900 million euros in arms supplied to Israel, and Germany holds the first place, and 326 million euros allocating to sell weapons to Israel. So it is not only the thousands of children murdered, which is a long list. I'm not going to show you because it is a lot of it's just so shameful for human condition. There are not only 70,000 people murdered, teachers, journalists, and an isolated territory as they did with the Americas in the 15th century. Over 500,000 of children with serious mental disorders. 1 million of future adults, 1 million of future men and women that with one of the serious illnesses in psychiatry known as the post-traumatic disorder. And so it is paralyzing. It is a paralyzing disease, and 1 million children, boys and girls, that can be considered from the mental health as a generation annihilated. So who's gonna treat them? What physician? What health program? So yesterday, President Maduro launched a program for prevention and care of health, of the general health, because greater pharmaceutical industries, they are not convenient that people be healthy, but people must be sick. So because they get profits from it. So the true businesses were cancer and mental disorders, because there is nothing more expensive than the treatment of cancer. And so depressive people just spend their lives in depression. In turn, so some kidneys infection just last 14 days. So when President launches a health proposal, then pharmaceutical industries are just upset. So who's gonna be in charge of the reconstruction of the territory, or the treatment of 1 million children that are severely affected by this war? So would they sell those weapons to Germany or France for murdering children coming from Belgium? Of course not, because they are hypocritical, because they have demonstrated to be absolutely brutal when we speak of genocide or crimes against humanity. So it is enough to be to still consider Europe a civilization.